Well, good morning. Welcome to our Revival Center YouTube page. My name is Jason White. I'm one of the associate pastors here at the Revival Center. Thank you for joining our Influence. This is what we call our Influence show, I guess, streaming, not hour, but 30 minutes, whatever we do is from different topics. And usually it's led by our lead pastor, Pastor Jason as well. You know that if you tune in most weeks or archive, but he is actually having a small little procedure today on his face, just a little thing being cut off, and he'll be back in the next few days. All is well. So just say a quick little prayer for him today if you get a chance. He's having that done this morning, but like I said, very small, and he'll be good to go in the next few days. So that's why I'm here today. He's out doing that, and so I want to just say thank you to him. Pastor Jason, thank you for letting me do this. It's always fun, and I always enjoy hopping on the Influence, and so thank you. Also in this moment, go ahead and like and subscribe. When you do that, you get notifications through YouTube and any of the other platforms when we release content. Give us a great review, because we want to get a positive influence out there. There's a lot of negative influences. YouTube is full of all kind of things, and so we want to be a city on a hill. We want to be encouraging. We are biblically based, and we just want to be a positive light. So thank you for doing that. Go ahead, like and subscribe, like I said, in this moment, and tell some friends and family members. I know Tuesday morning at 8:30 probably isn't the most convenient time for everybody to watch live, but that's okay. You can go back and archive and watch it anytime. You can watch it before you go to sleep at night. You can watch it when you get home from work. You can watch it at lunch. You can watch it whenever, because we do talk about some interesting topics and hot button topics and some things just to help you along in your Christian walk and faith, and to strengthen you, because we all strive to be better disciples for Jesus. So go ahead and do that as well. And so we're going to jump in today. If you notice, I've got the other chair here with me. Normally when I'm by myself, or Pastor Jason is by himself, we're standing up. But I've got another chair, and you may be wondering why. Well, why is because my assistant, who is usually behind the camera, and actually he started the show, or the streaming behind the camera and behind the computer, Mr. Aaron Limbaugh, and he is going to join me today. So come on over, Aaron. And we're doing this live. So thank you for joining me, Aaron.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So everybody, you hear Pastor Jason mention all the time, this is my assistant in the media world here at the church, Aaron Limbaugh. Aaron, how long have you been going to church here?
It has been since I was in middle school, so yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, and you're 20.
About to be 25 this year.
25. Yeah. So he's getting a little older as well. Not quite my age, but that's okay. But no, he's usually behind the scenes, and he's going to join me today, and we're going to talk about a topic that really is important. Maybe sometimes gets swept under the rug, but we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about video games, and we're going to talk about not just video games, but things in the digital world, because we want to make sure that we are coming at it from a perspective of things that lift Christ up, and we're doing things the right way, because there are a lot of people play video games, a lot of kids play video games. If you notice, they're always on their phones playing something or doing something, and so don't let me drop it. But we want to make sure that we hit games that uplift, things that are encouraging, things that we should be doing as Christian families and Christian kids, because trust me, there's a lot of games and a lot of things out there that if we're not monitoring, or if we're not keeping away from our kids, they're being exposed to things that I don't think we really want to have them exposed to yet. Mm-hmm. So
no, not at all.
Yep.
Because there's a lot that parents don't expect, that family doesn't expect, that it's stuff catered to, put on a silver platter, say this is for kids.
Right.
And it's not or it allows access to things that is not.
That's right. That's right. And they can, like I said, be exposed to things a lot earlier than they probably should be.
Yes.
That could lead to, addictions. It could lead to violence. It could lead to all kind of things that we want to make sure that we keep our kids away from. I'm a dad of 3. I've got a 16, a 14, and a 8-year-old, and I want to make sure that just like certain TV shows that we watch or certain movies that we watch, I want to make sure that the video game world, the digital world, games on your phones, computers, all those sorts of things, that those are monitored too, because like I said earlier, what comes in will come out. Yes. So we're going to talk about that today. So you ready to jump in?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So a little disclaimer before we jump in. This is not about banning games, but discerning what builds up and aligns with Christian values. So I wanted to read real quick before we kind of talk about different games and what's appropriate, not appropriate, and how maybe some suggestions that we can help with families and things like that. But I want to read Philippians 4, verses 1 through 9. This is Paul writing to the Philippian church, or the church at Philippi. He says this, "Therefore, my brothers and sisters, you whom I love and long for, my joy and crown, stand firm in the Lord in this way, dear friends. I plead with Euodia and I plead with Syntyche, I believe that's how you would say it, to be of the same mind in the Lord. Yes, I ask you, my true companion, help these women, since they have contended at my side in the cause of the gospel, along with Clement and the rest of my co-workers whose names are in the book of life." All right, now this is what I really want to jump into, verse 4. "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you." So, Aaron, I think what Paul is saying here in these verses, to me, is that there's a standard of things that we're supposed to be doing and living in our lives. And as disciples and Christians and disciples of Jesus, we shouldn't just let anything into our hearts and minds. We should think about things that are pure and excellent and praiseworthy. And so, any thoughts or anything to add there?
Well, I recall a time where, we were taught it's like that your eye is a gate, and what goes in, I believe it was where Jesus was talking, was like where anything that goes in, it's like if you have dark things going in, your inside will be dark. If you have light going in, it'll be light. I'm bad about paraphrasing without knowing the verse.
That's all right.
And we do need to be cautious, and there's a standard because our God is a God of order. He is not a God of chaos or confusion.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a standard. Sometimes we may find ourselves trying to sort through something and be a little confused about it, but if we can pray through it and refer back to the Bible, and oftentimes think about, okay, does this bring me closer to God or further away from God? How does it affect my relationship with God? How does it affect how effective I am in doing what He has called me to do?
Yeah. I mean, I recall, you saying that about Jesus with the eye. He even says, I think it may be in the Sermon on the Mount, I might be wrong on that, but he says that if a man even looks at a woman lustfully, what did he say to do?
He says cut it out.
Cut it out. Pluck out that eye, gouge out that eye, and it says it's better to enter heaven with one eye than to go to hell with both eyes.
Yeah, and I think that conveys the importance, because he legitimately means, in a sense, it's like, look, it is better for you to not have an eyeball.
Yeah. It's
better for you than to keep that eyeball and end up in hell.
Yep. And so I think we can take that physical description of what Jesus was saying and apply it spiritually as well because and we've already said this before, but what comes in will go out. Will go out. And so that's where we're going to kind of go today and talk about gaming and different things, the digital world. So let's jump into, Aaron, what makes a game appropriate for Christian kids and Christian families? Well, let's talk a little bit, just a few seconds about what appropriate means in a Christian context, because a lot of people can take that word and maybe define it in their own terms.
Yes,
right?
Especially today.
That's right. So to me, something appropriate is something that's uplifting. There's no glorification of violence, profanity, or anything, into occultic type, Wiccan, dark spiritual practices. Anything opposite of that, right, is appropriate. That's not appropriate, in my opinion. A game or any kind of show or movie that encourages virtues like kindness, teamwork, patience. Also, they rate games now on PlayStations and Xboxes and computers and Switches and all that. We have the Switch at our house, so that's what I'm more familiar with. But they rate these games because of violence and different things like that. So make sure you check the age appropriateness and the ratings and things like that. But also, who is rating those games? Is it Christian standards? It's the world.
Yeah, because I've ran into some. Matter of fact, I ran into a game one time I was checking out that it was rated like E for everyone, and it said, that game dropped a GD. That game let that slip on the rating.
But the world says that's for everybody. Why? Because you can turn on NBC and watch a show at 8 o'clock at night on a Monday night, and they'll say GD. Or other expletives and use profanity, because that's the world standards. So even in that, when you go by these ratings, you have to be very careful, because we are not of the world. We are in the world, but we're not of the world. We live by different standards. We're salt and light. And so you have to make sure that when you're giving kids games and you're giving your daughter and your son games that are things that are appropriate, they lift up, and that can be hard to do because, and we'll kind of talk about this for a second. And you mentioned this before we kind of went live, Aaron. The Christians out there, we've kind of left this segment of our culture wide open to the world. Explain a little bit about what I'm saying there.
Well, so if you think about it, if you go back, there's been tons of Christian book authors. There's been C.S. Lewis, there's been Tolkien, there's been lots
in the past,
lots of wonderful authors that have written books. And when that was the main media of the time, that was the thing. And you could find us everywhere in that. Even in movies, you got like Fireproof, Facing the Giants. Was it Irwin Brothers?
At this church out of Georgia. I can't remember.
So they make tons of stuff, and there's you got like The Chosen and stuff like that. Lots of shows driving that narrative. But tell me where you see the video games, which there are some up and coming now. I've been watching a few studios. There's even one in Birmingham right now, actually, that's a young and upcoming Christian studio. But tell me where the Christian video games are, and I don't just mean Christian games for Christians, I mean Christian games for the world.
That's right.
Christian games that drive the message, that provide those values, that get in people's houses and bring in that atmosphere.
Yeah, because you have to think about, all right, when I played games, and I still play a little bit, but when I was growing up, I had a PlayStation. And I played mainly sports games because I've been a Christian a long time, and I didn't want to get into, the Grand Theft Autos and, all the violence. I maybe played a little bit of what was it back in the day? Contra. You remember old Contra on the Nintendo? And, it was like a mission war game or whatever. But I never really got into those types of violent games, and I've kind of lost my track of thought where I was going with that. But so you jump into the games today, like PlayStation and Xbox, and the graphics are like so good.
Surreal.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a real. I mean, I had a friend of mine tell me just a few days ago that he walked into a gas station. There was a football game playing on the TV, and he realized it was on the TV the same time that the actual Auburn game was going on. This was last year, but it was a video game that was being played, and the people that worked in the gas station thought that the game on the TV was the actual real game, not the video game. So he had to tell them that score's not right. That's the video game, not the real game. That's how good the graphics are. So I say all that to say the Christian studios, even when they come up with these games that are trying to reach the world as well, there's such a high standard as far as like graphics and all of the tricks and tools and the audio and all those things that you don't really see those either. A lot of times, I remember Bible Man.
Oh, yeah.
Bible Man?
I used to watch that.
Yeah, well, Bible Man was cool, but Bible Man was behind the times when it was kind of like with graphics, and it was almost like it was made in the Stone Age.
It seemed a little corny at times, even though it has a particular flavor I enjoy.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, if we're gonna compete, and I don't know if that's the right word, but and you've heard Pastor Jason say this before about anything. If the church backs out of an industry or a certain thing, then who's going to fill it? The world.
The world will fill it, and not necessarily. Yes, competing and not competing, because we don't want to be like sort of a corporate sense of competing.
No, it's not about money.
Yeah.
We want to save souls.
Yes. So if you want to really change, reach as many people as you can, affect people as you can, you need something that's going to be mainstream. You need something that's going to be the next big thing coming out on the game consoles, on the computer. They're going to say, hey, that looks cool. I want to play that.
Yeah.
And then it's something that drives that message and brings that atmosphere. Because if it is just because a lot of these studios that I have been watching personally that are Christian studios, they're very young, they're very inexperienced. Some of them have some really talented members, but they're having to grow, they're having to learn how to use the software, and they don't have a lot of funds to hire a lot of people, so it's very small teams working on things. Now, indie game development, which is a word in games that means like a small group of people, it's not a big AAA studio like EA or whatever.
Okay. I've heard indie too, like when you have the movie festivals.
Yes, and that's kind of the same thing. It just means, for the most part, to my understanding, it means just kind of small group. It's not a big corporation.
Right.
Indie development is stealing the show right now because a lot of big studios, they're pumping all this agenda, and people are starting to get tired of it. And so these smaller studios are just making simple things that are fun.
Yeah.
So,
but you don't see that marketed.
No.
Like, for example, EA Sports stands out because, like I said, I played Madden and college football and golf and all these. When I did play, loved them, right? But why do you think they market them the way they market them on commercials and things like that? And you see their ads and you see the graphics. Why do you think they do that? Because it grabs people.
grabs people.
And I think that goes back to what we were saying a second ago. You don't see that in the Christian world, in the Christian video game production. And I think that's we need to step up.
Yes, because if we do not, who will?
That's right. The world, just like Pastor Jason gave the example, in I think a sermon not too long ago, or it might have been here on the Influence. There was a church that the Methodist Church, I believe, left the church in Chelsea, beautiful building, and guess who bought it? A Muslim congregation, a Muslim church.
Yeah.
And so my whole point is if there's a void there, not for money, not for profit, anything like that, but why not, as the Christians, as the church, let's put our thumbprint, so to speak, on just about every culture, because we know that we're going to do it, especially here, we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do it biblically. We want to lift up Jesus, not man.
Yeah.
And so there is a empty void there that hopefully people pick up, and authors and things like that, and books. And
well, that's something I pray for because, like you mentioned, you said kids are they're always on their phones.
Yeah.
They're always on something. They're always, and even when I was a kid, when it was summertime, Two things I was doing. I was out running around the woods with my cousin on my grandparents' farm, or me and him were playing video games waiting for Nana to make a sandwich.
Yeah, the video game world is real. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you still play video games pretty hot and heavy, right?
Yeah, I played some last night.
Yeah, so last night. So that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Like, that's something he enjoys. It's his hobby. Whereas I was out running 2 miles. Not that I necessarily enjoyed that, but you know, I'm getting older and I need to run.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily
probably
not
should
there
start,
yet.
though.
Well, it doesn't hurt, but you know, video games is everybody has like different things that they enjoy as hobbies, and so once again, that's kind of why we're on here today. So let's talk about some of those games that, and you can give specifics because you'll probably know a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you know, my family, let's kind of go away from video games for a moment. We play board games together. We play card games. We love to play Five Crowns together. It's a card game. We play Spoons. You ever played Spoons?
One time.
Yeah,
That was one time.
it can get intense, competitive. We've started a new game called Kemps. It's kind of like Spoons.
I like Kemps.
Yep, and so we play games together, and we encourage that. As a family, we encourage that with friends because it builds, builds community, it builds relationship. You can bond with one another, and it's just a good, fun thing to do. That's not, you're not watching something that you shouldn't watch or things like that. You can also play outdoor games. We love being outside. But like I said, the main topic of today is the digital world, video world games. And so some games that, like my son has a Switch, and we wear out some Mario Kart.
Oh, yes.
Matter of fact, today is my birthday, just saying. Happy birthday to me, right? But we're going to play a Mario Kart tournament tonight at my house, probably about 7 o'clock. And it's going to be me and probably one of my kids, probably Caden, versus Tabitha and the other kids. And because we love Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And so Mario Kart is, there's no violence. They shoot each other with like shells, yes. And it may spin the cart around, but then they keep going.
There's banana peels.
There's banana peels, all right? But it's not violent, right? And when you get into the Mario world, I think those are safe games. I've played Mario coming up from when I had the regular Nintendo.
Yeah.
I remember when the first Mario came out. So I think those are some safe games.
Well, it's like I remember Wii Sports Resort and Wii Sports.
Wii
like
Sports,
Wii
on the Wii.
Yeah. No matter how old that game is, you will always be surprised at how entertained you'll be when you and a few friends or some of your family just turns that Wii on and puts in Wii Sports.
That's right. And is the Wii still a thing?
You can still buy them. You can buy used ones all the time.
So, and that's good physical activity as well, so good for your body and exercise. What about, let me ask you this, because you probably know a little bit more. What about Minecraft?
Minecraft is kind of in a weird spot for me right now. There's much of it that I enjoy, but they've made additional games where they're kind of getting a little mythological, and that's something I'm kind of having to sort out and figure out right now.
But what about just your basic Minecraft kind of creative mode? Because don't you like build houses?
Yes, you can build houses. You can do little redstone circuits. They can learn like logic circuits from redstone.
You feel that's safe?
I would argue right now. I'd say Minecraft's pretty safe.
Yeah. And then when you get into the Christian world as far as games, you have the Action Bible game. I don't know a lot about it, but
I don't know about that. I have the book.
The book, all right. You got Adventures and Odyssey games. You on your phone, you do have Bible verse memory apps, and they have those they've made those fun, and so you do have some Christian themed games. But once again, you don't see the you don't see the variety. You don't see
the variety and the maturity of the development.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily in a sense of like the message, but more just in the game development itself.
Yeah, like the graphics and the
it's like
plots
something you hop in. It's like, wow, this is a nice game. Not to shame it at all, but just saying it's like they're young studios. They don't have a lot of people. So.
Yeah, and it takes money to do a lot of that stuff.
A lot of money and time.
So yeah, so once again, those are some games. I'll be honest, we have a Switch at the house, so we don't play a lot of games. My son, he likes to play. We have to monitor him, but he plays a lot of sports games.
Mm-hmm.
He'll play baseball, he'll play basketball, Mario, like we mentioned. They got a Mario versus Donkey Kong game that we play. But so that's fine. We do that. We're in that world. We play those games, but we are going to monitor what he plays. And the girls never really got very much into games. Now they'll play some games on their phones, but a lot of them are like, building blocks and stuff like that. But you got to monitor that stuff because it's on the internet, especially on your phones, and you never know what ads are going to pop up, and it can lead down some slippery slopes.
Well, there's some even that they target ads for stuff like that, and it doesn't matter how young either.
That's right.
Because they want customers, so they want to hook them early.
Yeah, and can you imagine your 9-year-old son playing on whatever game, and then all of a sudden he clicks on something, and then he's seeing some kind of pornographic website, and then he clicks on that, and next thing you know, he has been exposed to pornography at a very early age, way early. Really, they should never be exposed to it, but especially not at 9 years old.
No.
Because he clicked on an ad in a game. And so you got to be very careful. You got to monitor that, moms and dads, because it's important. We want to make sure that the eye, the spiritual eye, the physical eye is taking in things that are clean, that Jesus would say, you know what, I endorse that. And that's another thing to think about. What would Jesus do? Remember those old bracelets?
Oh, yeah.
Would Jesus play this game? If you invited Jesus to your house for a video game, would you play that game with Jesus?
Exactly. Well, yeah, think about, because some people ask that question, they'll be like, yeah. I'm like, all right, think about it this way. Would you hide this from Jesus if you come over? If your parents walk in the room, are you going to shuttle this away? Are you going to hide it somewhere?
You know what? That's a good point. Listen to this in Romans 12. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I'm glad you said that. That was a great segue of would you hide that from Jesus?
Because if you have like an inclination, like your gut reaction is, I got to hide that.
Yeah. All right, well, we're kind of running out of time, so let's talk about some games to avoid. I would definitely, and I'm not going to mention specifics, I kind of already have a couple, but I definitely would avoid games that promote witchcraft, and there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch.
Occult themes, and you got to be careful even with some of your fantasy RPGs. What is that?
It stands for role-playing games.
Role-playing games.
Yes.
Thank you. I see Aaron, man. This is his world, so right up his alley. Role-playing games. Not that all fantasy games are bad. I like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
If you want to talk about that later, we can. But things like Harry Potter. Be careful because they cast.
They have actual Wiccan spells.
Wiccan spells and things like that. So you want to kind of stay away from games that promote those things.
Because what are you opening up and allowing in?
That's right. There's a spiritual world just as much as the physical world that we're sitting in right now that talks about it. We don't fight against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities. Well, a lot of times when you do things, you can unlock things that you don't want unlocked in your house. So anyway, I would not promote games that have extreme violence or mature content. Like I said, I don't know if we talked about Call of Duty or games like that. I personally would be very careful with that with my teenage son. He's only 8 now, but as he grows older, you got to be careful with that because you hunt. Basically, people. I know it's a military game, but it shows shooting and things like that.
Because you're kind of trying to understand, okay, what message is this driving?
That's right. Yeah. And I don't want my son thinking, well, I just shot the guy on the game. It's no big deal to just go shoot somebody in real life. No, this is life or death.
Yeah.
And so these games can sometimes soften reality, in my opinion. And so you got to be careful with that. You would agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Now, as you get older, you may play Call of Duty or games similar, but you're also a grown man and can understand the difference.
Also, I look for things, me personally, for where I'm at. I look for things that I like, that it drives the teamwork, it drives kind of that no greater love hath a man than to lay down his life for his friends kind of thing. And I look for stuff that's not driving this just like gore fest of just shooting and blowing people to pieces for fun kind of thing.
Yeah.
I look for something that has a bit more purpose to it.
Yeah. So stay away from those as a kid, in my opinion. You don't want to see people blown into pieces. Stay away from that. Toxic behavior and online play. Now listen, this is not my world. I never played the games where you were playing with somebody from Spain or Australia. That's not, I don't know anything about it other than we're going to stay away because we hear a lot of things. I know Aaron plays games online. Aaron, kind of chime in maybe here on some safe guidelines for online play.
So for me personally, I would say, like, if I had kids, I would keep them offline, period. Or if they're online, I would be right there monitoring it. But I would keep them offline until they're, like, honestly, some people would disagree, but I'm gonna say 18. Because there's too much predator activity. That's the main, because you're always gonna have those guys online that are just spewing nonsense. They're swearing, they're spewing all kinds of junk. You run into them in every game. It's going to be difficult to avoid that. But the big danger I see is like predator activity, when they're going to try and trick kids into revealing information. Hey, where's your house? Hey, where's your this?
And kids sometimes most of the time are innocent and don't think nothing about it. Next thing you know, they've given information to...
I've heard countless story after story. I've seen it on the news. I've even had people that I've been friends with online that they've had a family member, or they themselves have had a situation where they gave too much information and things got scary.
So monitor that. It's not about fear, but it's about wisdom. And Proverbs 4, verse 23 says... it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Keep your mouth, verse 24, free of perversity. Keep your corrupt talk far from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet, and be steadfast in all ways. Do not turn to the right or to the left, but keep your foot from evil. And that's the end of Proverbs chapter 4, verses 23 through the end of the chapter. So, like I said, it's about wisdom. It's about being smart. So, how to discern things as a family. Set standards together. Use review sites. I researched a little bit. You got Common Sense Media.
Common Sense Media is pretty good.
Plugged In was another one I found.
Plugged In's great. The only issue I run into there is sometimes they don't, you got to wait a little while before they have a review for something. But other than that, if they put a review, they do a great job because they break it down, because it's focused on the family. It's a Christian perspective. They're like, okay, these are the good things, these are the concerns, this is how much language, and then they give a little tiny synopsis at the bottom.
So use those, man. Take advantage of reviews. Pray. Obviously, always pray. If your son or daughter asks about a game and you don't know, look it up, review it, pray about it. The Holy Spirit will even speak to you about things like that in your life, because all of it matters. Encourage kids to think about how games affect their thoughts and behavior. If you're, let's say your son's playing a game that's very violent, and all of a sudden you find them in the corner wanting to beat up their younger brother or sister. Well, and you know that you don't provoke violence in the house, and there's no yelling and things like that. Well, check the games that they're playing. Check the games that they're playing, because what comes in will come out.
Yes.
And so, be smart in that, pray about it. And so anyway, we're going to wrap up today. Thank you, Aaron. You got anything else, man, you want to add? I know you talked a little bit about in Romans 14 about working out your own salvation and convictions. And so you want to add anything there?
Yeah, because there's kind of going to be some times where you're going to hit something, you're just kind of not be sure. And we want to stick to the Bible and stick by that standard.
That's right.
And there's going to be times, well, like we talked about, like you said, we're an adult. There's maybe some military games we play because we found something that it's not intentionally inappropriate in the sense of like gory or blood, but we like the teamwork. We like the narrative that it drives of like the brotherhood and like the no better love than a man has to lay down his life for his friends.
Yeah.
We like that. We think that drives a good message for us. But for a kid or for somebody that bothers in some way, for them to go against what they think is right in order to do it just because we said it's okay, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Because that causes them to do something that they feel like they shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that the key thing to kind of end on is this right here is your standard. Mm-hmm. If you don't think it agrees with the Bible and lines up with the Bible, then don't do it. Are video games bad? No, not by any means. Are we saying to throw away all your Switches and PlayStations and Xboxes? No, we're not saying that. But we are saying be careful. Monitor what your kids are watching and playing because, it will come out. What comes in will come out. And we want to make sure that we're uplifting our kids and supporting our kids and showing them the Jesus way on how to do things. And there is a Jesus way when it comes to video games and the digital world and all that as well. It's just like watching a movie. Would you watch a certain movie that has the F word every other word and every other sentence with your kids in the room? Shoot, should you even be watching that yourself as an adult, as a Christian? I would argue that no, you should not, because you are affected by the culture. And if your culture is not Jesus, a lot of times what comes in will come out. So, any closing thoughts?
Not that I can think of, but thank you for letting me come on here.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope we went a little long today, but that's all right. I figured we kind of would when we jumped into the topic. But thank you for tuning in. I really hope this encouraged, challenged you, let you think about video games in that world, because, man, even if they're not playing it on their TVs, a lot of people are playing games on these things, and kids and stuff like that. Shoot, you even see 2- and 3-year-olds now walking around. That's a whole nother topic, isn't it? Should my 2-year-old be playing my cell phone? But anyway, we talk about that another day. But thank you for joining us today. Go ahead once again, like and subscribe. This is our Influence on the YouTube page, and we will see you later. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless.